Hello, my dear students. Our lecture today is related to communicative language teaching. In the explanation of the introduction of communicative language teaching, I mentioned that there are many linguistic theories supporting the communicative approach to language teaching. One of them is Holliday's functional account of language. So today we will be concerned with this topic, Holliday's functional account of language. We mentioned also in our explanation of the introduction that the macro and micro functions performed through language. Halliday believes that language is a tool that we use to perform a set of functions. We perform different functions through our use of language, macro functions and micro functions. Halliday classified language functions into two groups, macrofunctions and microfunctions. First, we start with macrofunctions. In macrofunctions of language, we are concerned with the functioning of language as whole. The macrofunctions include number one, the textual function, which means our ability to arrange or organize our messages into text. So the first type of macro functions is the textual functions in which we use this function of language in order to organize our messages into text. Two, the additional function. We use this function of language in order to express what we know about the world around us. We express our inner thoughts and ideas about the world and about people and things around us through our use of language. So we express our ideas about everything around us by using language. The third type is the interpersonal function. We use this function of language in order to interact with our fellow members. Of course, social interaction is a major function that we perform through language. That's why we use language to interact with people for different purposes, for developing social relationships, for demanding services, for offering services. So different ideas we can use in the use of interpersonal functions. Up to this point, we have finished with the first group, which is macro functions. Now we move to the second, which includes micro functions. Micro functions are taken from Holliday's observation of language functions as used by a child acquiring the mother tongue or native language. So, as the child starts early stages of life, the child starts using language for different functions, and as the child develops in life, these functions also develop and become more complicated. So, in macro functions of language described by Halliday, based mainly on his observation of children's use of their mother tongue, we have number one, the instrumental function. This means the use of language in order to fulfill our material needs. That's to get things. The instrumental function, using language as an instrument to get things. For example, when I go to the supermarket and say, "Give me a pen, please." Now I have I can get the pen by using language. So this is the instrumental function. Two, the regulatory function, the function that we use to control the behavior of other people. Sometimes we control the behavior of people by using language like saying, "Can you open the door?" In this case, this person will open the door, and now we have influenced the behavior of this person or controlled the behavior of this person. Also, in giving instructions. In, for example, a teacher teaches his students by giving them instructions and making them follow the instructions. So in this case, the teacher controls the behavior of students. 3. The heuristic function, the function we use in order to ask for more information on the world around us. In this case, we use language to learn and discover. Of course, especially children, they use language to ask too much questions about things around them in order to learn and discover. The informative function, the function we use to express something that we believe is new to the hearer. So we use the informative function in order to tell the new ideas. The imaginative function, the use of language in order to express wishes and dreams. This means that we use language to create the world of imagination. For example, telling stories and reading stories. In this case, we use language to create the world of imagination. The personal function, the function that we use in order to talk about ourselves, that is to express our personal feelings. And finally, we have the interpersonal function, the use of language to socialize and make a friend, which means the use of language to communicate with other people or to interact with other people for different purposes. These are the functions as classified by holidays, and that's all for our lecture today. All what I want you to do is to study these functions in a good way so that you can distinguish between the macro functions and micro functions. A very important note that we have the interpersonal function as a macro function and as a micro function. In both cases, the same idea, which is communicating and interacting with other people in the society. And interaction is very important, one of the most important functions for which we use language. So it's okay. We have the interpersonal function as a macro function and as a micro function. That's all, and thank you very much.